The 1993 film Groundhog Day with Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell is a bad movie with a bad message. In this video, I'll explain why I say so. Naturally, there will be spoilers, so continue at your own risk. Phil, played by Bill Murray, is inconsiderate toward other people. He uses them to his own ends. He mocks them. He expects special treatment. In general, he's just not a nice guy. One day, Phil finds himself stuck in a kind of time loop. The events of the world reset every day at 6 a.m., and yesterday, Groundhog Day, plays out again the same as it did before, except where Phil behaves differently and changes outcomes. But the outcomes are always reset the next day at 6 a.m., and it's Groundhog Day all over again. After cynically using his situation for a while to exploit people, he discovers that he's in a kind of hell, because despite numerous repeated attempts to escape the cycle, he can't even kill himself. Every morning at 6 a.m., he wakes up again to relive Groundhog Day. Finally, Phil goes on a journey of apparent self-improvement, finding many opportunities to help various people around the small town he's stuck in, not to mention picking up many new skills, such as sculpting ice with a chainsaw, administering the Heimlich maneuver, and making beautiful speeches that move people to tears. In the end, the storytellers seem to want us to think that Phil has learned how to be a good guy. He gets the girl. We like him. What a sweet story. But consider, Phil has also picked up the skill of playing piano. He begins the story with no musical ability, and at the end of the story he's jamming on piano with a band, in front of an enthusiastically appreciative audience. Where did he get this skill? The movie shows us. He uses a big wad of money to bribe a local piano instructor to abruptly end the piano lesson she's currently teaching to a little girl. What? Yeah. The piano instructor shoves the girl out the door, and we watch her slowly walk away with her disheveled books, confused and hurt, apparently too obedient to be properly offended. That is no way to treat another human being. It smacks of privilege, not just the privilege of money, but also the privilege of being an adult. Your feelings matter. Kids' feelings don't. Now, you might want to say that's a joke and it's supposed to be funny. I get that. I think it was Mel Brooks who said, "Tragedy is when I get a paper cut. Comedy is when you fall into a pit and die." I get the joke, and it is funny. The little girl does a great job of looking upset. But the joke is just a comedic device. It's entirely unnecessary to the story itself. As we continue the story, we see Phil at his lessons twice more, but we don't see the girl again. It wouldn't be funny. Indeed, it might start to nag on our conscience. Further, I can tell you from personal experience that you don't get very good on a musical instrument in a week, or a year, or 5 years. Phil's amazing piano playing suggests that he wronged the little girl hundreds of times. That's sick. He's not a good person. A good person would not do that. Now, maybe you'll say that in some sense he did it only once because the girl would never remember his systematic abuse when she woke up, because she was reset just like everything else. But I can't embrace the notion that it's okay to harm someone if they don't remember it later. Imagine using that principle to justify putting something in your date's drink. This movie utterly fails in its attempt to be a redemption story. Phil doesn't become a good person. Rather, his character arc is that he learns how to hide the fact that he hasn't changed at all. At the beginning of the story, Phil's nastiness is mostly out in the open, and it costs him socially. At the end, he's still a guy who has zero problem systematically mistreating children, bribing other adults to join him in said mistreatment, and, get this, he is still manipulating Rita with falsehoods, giving that she has told him countless times that she seeks a man who loves children. The real change in the story is that Phil no longer pays a social cost for being a manipulative asshole. Now, because I'm just some crank on the internet, I doubt that I've ruined this movie for you. I'm sure you'll have no trouble dismissing everything I've said here. But if I have moved you at all, I hope you won't think I've ruined it. I say the writers of the story failed you, not carefully thinking it through. They could have come up with some other way to make Phil good at piano, and what would have been lost from the movie? One joke. And not even that, really. It's not like that's the only joke they could have used. Better still, it could have been another positive contribution to his redemption arc. He could have mistreated the girl a couple of times, because after all, he's new to this notion of being a better person, and then realized his mistake and changed his approach to learning piano. It's a bad movie. At the very least, the writers allowed lazy storytelling to poison their story. Phil remains a bad person, arguably a worse person than before, because he has perfected the skill of hiding his evil nature so he can continue to manipulate people. That's all I had to say. Thanks for watching.